The night over New Kyoto was silent. A fragile calm stretched across the colony's glittering towers and parks. Children played beneath artificial stars. Lovers whispered promises under glowing lanterns. For a moment, the galaxy seemed peaceful. Then, the sky cracked. Explosions blossomed like deadly flowers in the upper atmosphere, streaks of green plasma scorching the clouds. The first wave of Thalzar warships sliced through the colony's orbital defenses with brutal efficiency. Alarms screamed across every district. The humans below barely had time to react. In a small apartment on the 22nd floor, Yuna Nakamura clutched her son Kenji as the building shuddered violently. Glass shattered. Rain of sparks fell like meteor showers. Around them, neighbors scrambled toward emergency exits, faces pale with disbelief. "Mom, what's happening?" Kenji's voice trembled. "Shh, stay close," Yuna whispered, pressing him against her. Her heart hammered in her chest. They had heard rumors of the Thalzar's growing aggression, but no one expected this. Not here, not now. Outside, the streets erupted into chaos. Vehicles overturned, fires sparked along the avenues, and distant screams echoed beneath the roar of the bombardment. The colony's defenses faltered. Satellite cannons sputtered and died. The towering skyscrapers that once symbolized humanity's expansion into the stars now became tombs. Across the orbital horizon, the enemy fleet cast an ominous shadow. Their sleek, sinister ships moved with deadly purpose. No hesitation, no mercy. They were executing a calculated massacre, a clear message to Earth itself. On Earth, in the capital's grand hall, the atmosphere was electric but grim. Screens flickered with live footage from New Kyoto, a world burning before billions of eyes. World leaders, military commanders, and diplomats watched in stunned silence. The president of the Unified Earth Front rose from his chair. His face was carved from stone, every line telling stories of sleepless nights and impossible decisions. "Enough," he said, voice low but steel sharp. The room quieted. "For too long we have played by their rules. We sought peace through reason, through patience. That time has passed." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. Then, with unwavering resolve, he spoke again. "Holding back is over. We retaliate." The broadcast cut to the entire globe. In cities, towns, and villages, screens lit up with the president's message. Crowds erupted in cheers and cries, some filled with hope, others with rage. Among those watching was Lieutenant Commander Marcus Voss aboard the orbital battleship Resolute. The veteran soldier stood rigid, fists clenched. He had seen conflict before, border skirmishes, rogue factions, but nothing like this. This was a war declaration. The stakes had shifted irreversibly. Marcus turned to his crew. "Prepare all systems. Activate Project Ares protocols. We go full war footing in T-60. Beneath the surface of Mars, deep within cavernous, bunkers lit by flickering fluorescence, Project Ares stirred. Long hidden from the Galactic Concorde's watchful eyes, Earth's secret weapons program had been building in silence for decades. Now with war declared, those weapons would see the light of day, and so would humanity's fury. Dr. Layla Singh, head scientist of the Ares Initiative, monitored the countdown on her console. Her eyes betrayed a mix of fear and fierce determination. "We're ready, Commander," she said. "The dreadnoughts are armed. Neural enhancements deployed. The first strike force is standing by." Outside, the colony of New Kyoto was burning to ash. Survivors huddled in underground shelters, clutching each other in the dark, praying for rescue that might never come. In orbit, the Resolute's guns roared to life, blazing trails of destruction toward the retreating enemy fleet. Earth was no longer the silent victim. It was a storm, brutal, relentless, and unforgiving. Far across the stars, the Thalzar Emperor watched the transmission of New Kyoto's fall from his throne room. His expression was unreadable, a mask of cold calculation. "Earth dares to fight back," he muttered, voice low but laced with venom. "Then let them learn what true war means. Back on Earth, The president's words echoed through the night air. A promise and a warning. We will protect our own. No matter the cost, no mercy, no retreat, this is our ultimatum. And so began a war that would shake the galaxy to its core, a war where humanity's resolve would be tested, and the question lingered in every star system. Can the galaxy hold back the fury of Earth? Beneath the rust-red surface of Mars, the silence was broken only by the hum of machinery and the soft footsteps of hurried scientists and engineers. The sprawling labyrinth of tunnels carved deep into the planet's crust was humanity's last secret, Project Ares, a weapon, buried away from prying eyes and galactic law. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Voss strode down the corridor, his boots echoing on metal floors. He wore the dark gray uniform of Earth's elite fleet, sleeves decorated with stripes earned from years of fighting on the fringes of human space. His face was lined with exhaustion, but his eyes burned with fierce determination. Ahead, the cavernous hangar bay stretched into darkness. Rows of warships lay dormant, their hulls gleaming under artificial light. These were no ordinary vessels. They were the fruits of decades of secret research, AI-controlled dreadnoughts with antimatter torpedoes, advanced stealth capabilities, and weapon systems designed to overwhelm even the most formidable fleets. In the center of the hangar, a group of soldiers trained tirelessly. Their bodies were enhanced with neural combat implants, technology that amplified reflexes, resilience, and pain tolerance. These were humanity's new warriors, born for a war the galaxy never expected. Marcus approached one such soldier, Sergeant Hannah Reyes, whose eyes glinted with a mixture of fear and pride. "Ready for your first mission, Sergeant?" Marcus asked, his voice low. Hannah nodded, flexing her fingers. "Born ready, sir. This isn't just a fight. It's our future." Nearby, Dr. Layla Singh adjusted the parameters on a console, her fingers flying over the holographic display. The lead scientist of Project Ares was a woman hardened by years of covert work and personal sacrifice. Her family had been lost in the initial Thalzar attacks, fueling her resolve to finish what she started. "Commander," she said without looking up, "all systems report green. The dreadnought Nemesis is fully operational. Neural enhancement. Units are synced. The antimatter payloads have been loaded and calibrated for maximum impact." Marcus nodded. "Good. The fleet will move out in 30 minutes. We hit Caraxes first, the Thalzar's key fortress world. It'll be a warning. They won't forget." As the clock ticked down, tension tightened the air. Every soldier, scientist, and pilot knew that this strike was more than retaliation. It was a declaration that Earth was done waiting. In the pilot's bay, young Lieutenant Cade Mercer strapped into the cockpit of a prototype fighter. His mind raced, hands steady on the controls. Cade was one of the best, a gifted pilot with a reckless streak, forged in years of border skirmishes. Today, he would test humanity's newest weapon in a battle that could change everything. Systems. "Online," Cade said into his comm. "All clear for launch." The hangar doors rumbled open, revealing the swirling orange sky of Mars. The Nemesis and its sister dreadnoughts powered up, engines glowing with blue fire. Fighters like Cade's streaked out of the bay, a swarm of lethal intent. Marcus climbed. Aboard the Nemesis, his voice calm but commanding over the intercom. "All units, this is Commander Voss. Remember, this is no longer a war of defense. We strike hard and fast. No mercy. No mistakes." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving the red dust of Mars behind. Their destination, Caraxes. The strike, Caraxes. Hung in space like a jewel, its surface crisscrossed with fortified turrets and energy shields, the Thalzar defenders were confident. Earth had been restrained for too long. Now they would pay. The Nemesis led the charge, unleashing a barrage of antimatter torpedoes that ripped through the planet's outer defenses. AI-guided drones swarmed enemy fighters, disabling them with precision laser strikes. The neural-enhanced soldiers prepared for deployment, their augmented reflexes primed for brutal ground combat. Cade's fighter dove into the fray, weaving between plasma blasts and enemy interceptors. His hands moved instinctively, pushing the limits of his craft. He shot down 2 Thalzar ships before taking a hit that sent his fighter spiraling. "Mayday! Mayday! Ejecting!" Cade radioed, ejecting just before the cockpit exploded. He parachuted into the chaos below, grit and adrenaline fueling his survival instincts. The aftermath: within hours, Caraxus was crippled. Earth's first strike wasn't just effective, it was devastating. The Thalzar's pride shattered, their forces reeling from the unexpected ferocity of human technology and strategy. Back on the Nemesis, Marcus watched the planetary surface light up with fires and explosions. His voice was quiet but resolute. "This is only the beginning." Back on Earth, the global broadcast showed footage from the strike. Brutal, unflinching. The message was clear. Earth had awakened, and it was no longer the galaxy's victim. In the corridors of power, the president smiled grimly. He knew the galaxy would never be the same. "Project Ares was our last hope," he said softly. "Now, it's our weapon." And somewhere in the darkness of space, the Thalzar Emperor clenched his fists. Humanity had ignited a war without mercy, and the galaxy would burn. The Great Hall of the Galactic conquered was a marvel of architecture, a swirling dome of glass and metal hovering in orbit above the neutral planet Viridian. Representatives from hundreds of star systems gathered beneath its ceiling, their alien forms filling every seat. Some were sleek and serpentine, others towering and crystalline. All wore expressions heavy with disbelief and outrage. At the center stood the holographic podium where the Earth delegate, Ambassador Alara Miles, prepared to address the assembly. For months, the Concord had demanded that Earth retract its military actions, warned of sanctions and threatened intervention. But Earth had not budged. Instead, it had intensified its war effort, and the destruction of Caraxus had shattered the fragile peace. Now, the galaxy waited for Earth's answer. Alara's image flickered to life on every screen, her voice calm yet commanding. "Esteemed delegates of the Galactic Concord," she began, "we have heard your warnings. We have listened to your pleas for restraint. But what we have witnessed leaves us no choice." She gestured, and the screens behind her switched to haunting images. Footage of New Kyoto engulfed in flames, civilians running from firestorms, desperate faces caught in rubble, then scenes of shattered colonies, homes burned and emptied. The footage was raw, unfiltered, a stark reminder of the price Earth had already paid. "We came to this council as hopeful newcomers, seeking peace and cooperation," Ilara continued. "But the Thalzar Empire chose war. They targeted civilians. They razed our colonies without mercy. So we ask you, when does mercy end?" A murmur rippled through the chamber. Some delegates shifted uneasily. Others bristled with anger. "We offer you this ultimatum. Stand with Earth in defense of justice and survival, or stand aside and watch as we reclaim our right to exist by any means necessary." The room fell silent. Then, without warning, the broadcast shifted again. This time it showed Earth's fleets in motion. Dreadnoughts and swarms of AI drones advancing with ruthless precision, orbital bombardments glassing enemy strongholds, and neural-enhanced soldiers storming fortified positions. The message was unmistakable. Earth was no longer a petitioner begging for mercy. It was a force to be feared. Across the galaxy, reactions and ripples in the glittering council chambers of the Seraphis delegation, Ambassador Kale hissed under his breath. "Monsters," he spat. "Earth has declared open war. No more diplomacy, no more rules." Yet not all shared his condemnation. Some smaller species, long oppressed by the Thalzar, watched the broadcast with hope. The peaceful regime they had suffered under now had a brutal champion. On the edges of the galaxy, pirate factions and mercenary bands reevaluated their allegiances. The balance of power was shifting, and Earth's sudden fierce rise was the fulcrum. Back on Earth, the people's resolve in a packed square on Earth's capital, millions gathered before giant screens broadcasting Ambassador Miles's ultimatum. Cheers erupted, tears flowed freely, and the sense of unity was palpable. Among the crowd, Yuna Nakamura clutched her son Kenji close, the memory of New Kyoto's destruction burning fresh in her heart. "Mom," Kenji whispered. "Will they come for us next?" Yuna tightened her grip, forcing a smile. "No, Kenji, we're stronger now. We won't let that happen again." Inside the war rooms, cold calculations in the subterranean command center beneath Earth's capital, General Amari stood over a holographic map of contested space. Red dots marked enemy fleets and bases, blue dots their own forces. "Sir, the Conquered is calling for emergency sanctions. Some member worlds threaten to withdraw trade and aid," an aide reported nervously. General Amari's jaw tightened. "Let them. We do not fight for approval. We fight to survive." He turned to the wall-sized display of Earth's secret weaponry, the Project Ares arsenal, and allowed himself a grim smile. "We'll make them see that mercy is a weakness. Our next strike will be swift, devastating, no more warnings." The warning to the galaxy. The broadcast was sent across every system Earth could reach, a clear, brutal message. "This is our promise. We will defend ourselves. We will strike with precision and power. The age of holding back is over. We are human, and we will not be broken." The words hung in the void, a beacon of defiance and warning. In the shadow of the Thalzar far from the council chambers, the Thalzar Emperor watched Earth's broadcast with icy contempt. His warlords gathered, faces unreadable behind armor and scales. "Earth believes it can survive our wrath," he said, voice like grinding stone. "Then we shall teach them the true meaning of war, a war without mercy." As the echoes of the ultimatum spread, the galaxy held its breath. The scales had tipped. The war was no longer about survival alone. It was a reckoning. The aftermath of Earth's ultimatum rippled through the galaxy like a tidal wave. Alien worlds once loyal to the Thalzar Empire now wavered, torn between fear and hope. The balance of power trembled as new alliances formed, old friendships shattered, and the line between friend and foe blurred. The fragile alliance, in the starport city of Velis Prime, Ambassador Alara Miles met secretly with Joran Kalvek, the emissary from the Vrexari, a reptilian race known for their cunning diplomacy and fierce warriors. The Vrexari had long been under Thalzar dominion, their fleets forced into endless conquest. Alara's voice was firm but cautious. "The time to choose is now. Stand with Earth, and together we can dismantle the Thalzar Empire." Joran's yellow eyes glinted with skepticism. "You ask us to betray our masters. The Thalzar will not forgive. If we switch sides, Earth must guarantee our survival." Alara nodded. "We offer protection and a place at the table when the galaxy is free." Joran hesitated, then finally extended a clawed hand. "For now, we watch. But the Vrexari will act when the time is right." Training the new breed back on Earth's orbital base, the training grounds buzzed with activity. New recruits, soldiers and aliens alike, endured grueling drills designed to mold them into the perfect warriors of Project Ares. Sergeant Hannah Reyes pushed her squad hard. "This isn't just muscle and ammo. Your neural implants make you faster, stronger, but they also make you vulnerable. Stay sharp. Trust your squad." Among the trainees was Kalen, a former mercenary from a fringe planet. His loyalty was in question, but his combat skills undeniable. Hannah eyed him warily. "Remember, Kalen," she warned during a simulation, "we fight as one. Betray us, and you won't live to regret it." Kalen smirked. "Try me." A moon, under siege in the desert moon Caltris. A small unit of Earth soldiers engaged in a brutal guerrilla campaign. The terrain was harsh, wind-swept dunes hiding Thalzar patrols and deadly traps. The squad moved silently, shadows among shadows. Corporal Lila Chen scanned the horizon, her enhanced vision piercing the dust storms. "Enemy patrols at grid 7. We hit hard, then vanish. Their objective: sabotage a Thalzar weapons depot vital to the enemy supply chain." As they advanced, a sudden ambush erupted. Plasma fire erupted from hidden bunkers, cutting through the squad's ranks. Hannah's squad fought back with ruthless efficiency, neural enhancements syncing their reflexes in a deadly dance of survival. Amid the chaos, Kalen froze, hesitated for a split second. Hana's eyes locked onto him. "Move!" she shouted, dragging him out of a plasma blast. Kalen recovered quickly, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Diplomatic shadows, in the dimly lit chambers of the Galactic conquered, political intrigue simmered. The Seraphis delegation sought to capitalize on Earth's aggression, pushing for a military coalition to contain the conflict. But not all delegates agreed. The Shilari, a mysterious amphibious race, advocated for caution. War only breeds chaos. We must seek a negotiated peace, even now. Their spokesperson, Ambassador Nael, met privately with Earth's Ambassador Alara. "Your ultimatum forces many hands," Nael warned. "Beware, Earth. Some will use your war to seize power for themselves." Alara's gaze hardened. "We fight for survival. We will not be pawns in their schemes." Betrayal in the ranks. Back on Caltris, the squad returned to base with their mission partially successful, but costly. Kalen disappeared into the shadows, slipping away under cover of night. Hana discovered his absence during the morning roll call. She felt the sting of betrayal, a wound sharper than any plasma blast. "Find him," Marcus ordered grimly. "We can't afford loose ends." The rising tide, despite fractures and betrayals, Earth's forces grew stronger. The Vrixari fleet, while watching from the sidelines, began supplying intel. More systems defected from the Thalzar Empire. The galaxy was waking to a new reality. Humanity was no longer the underdog. It was a rising tide, relentless, unstoppable. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, staring into the void. The Thalzar will never forgive our defiance, but neither will we back down. We fight not just for Earth, but for every world that dares to dream of freedom. Hana joined him, her expression grim but determined. The war will break us, or make us legends. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the next move. The war was no longer just Earth's fight. It was a galaxy on the edge of chaos, and only the strongest would survive. The cold steel corridors of the orbital base echoed with footsteps, sharp, urgent, and heavy with purpose. Sergeant Hana Reyes led a small team through the dimly lit passageways, her jaw clenched tight. The briefing had been grim. Kalen, the mercenary with questionable loyalty, had been spotted near the enemy's outpost on the barren moon of Caltris. His disappearance was no accident. It was a betrayal that threatened everything. "Intel suggests he's negotiating with the Thalzar," Hana whispered to Marcus, who followed closely. The lieutenant commander's expression was unreadable. "If he turns on us now, it could cost lives. We need him back, dead or alive." As they prepared for departure, tension thickened the air. The crew knew this was no ordinary extraction. It was a hunt for a traitor within their own ranks. The cost of war was never just bloodshed on the battlefield. It was the fractures it carved inside the human spirit. The moon's desolation, Caltris's surface was a wasteland of jagged rocks and shifting dunes. The wind howled like a living beast, carrying the bitter scent of dust and decay. Hana's squad touched down under the cover of darkness, the glow from their neural implants cutting through the gloom like shards of ice. "Eyes open," Hana ordered, scanning the horizon. Kalen could be anywhere. The team moved cautiously, every sense heightened by the neural enhancements that linked their reflexes and minds. But even with the implants, the silence was oppressive, broken only by distant echoes of Thalzar patrols. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Hana's eye. She gestured sharply, and the squad took cover behind a rocky outcrop. Ahead, a lone figure moved with stealth, too deliberate to be a patrol. "Target acquired," Hana breathed. The confrontation, Kalen stood before a hidden Thalzar encampment, speaking in low tones with an armored commander. Hana's calm crackled as she relayed their position. "Move in on my mark," she whispered. But something in Kalen's stance unsettled her. Was he truly a traitor? Or was there more to this meeting than met the eye? Suddenly, Kalen turned and spotted the squad. "Wait!" he called, raising his hands. I'm not what you think. Hana's weapon trained on him, every muscle coiled. Explain. Now. Kalen's voice was urgent, laced with desperation. I'm here to sabotage. The Thalzar from within. They're planning a major offensive, a strike on Earth's new colonies. I had to gain their trust to learn the details. The squad exchanged wary glances. Proof? Marcus's voice came through her comm. Kalen reached into his jacket, producing a data chip. Everything you need is here, but I can't do this alone. I need your help. Hana's grip on her rifle loosened slightly, but distrust lingered like a shadow. The cost of trust back at base, the data revealed a chilling reality. The Thalzar planned to unleash a virus capable of disabling Project Ares' neural implants. A strike that could turn Earth's greatest advantage into its deadliest weakness. Kalen gambled everything to get this intel, Marcus said grimly. We don't have the luxury to doubt him. Hana nodded, though the betrayal still stung. If he's lying, it's not just his life on the line, it's all of ours. The decision was made. Kalen would join a special strike team tasked with intercepting the Thalzar's virus convoy before it reached Earth's colonies. Into the fire. The strike team's shuttle pierced through the stormy atmosphere of a small, barren planet where the virus shipment was due to land. The skies were choked with ash and debris, remnants of previous battles. Inside the cramped shuttle, tension was palpable. Kalen avoided eye contact with Hana, who remained stoic but watchful. Remember, Marcus reminded them, this mission is critical. Failure means disabling our entire neural network. We lose the edge. We lose the war. The shuttle landed, with a jarring thud near a makeshift Thalzar depot. The team deployed swiftly, weapons raised, moving through the dark like shadows. Ambush and revelation as the strike team closed in on the virus containers. An ambush erupted. Thalzar soldiers poured from concealed bunkers, plasma fire cutting through the night. Neural enhancements kicked in, reflexes sharpened. Hana's squad responded with deadly precision, exchanging volleys that lit the darkness with bursts of blue and red. In the chaos, Kalen moved to secure the virus containers. But as he reached for the detonator, a Thalzar officer lunged from behind. Kalen fell pinned under the officer's weight. Hana dove forward, firing her rifle and forcing the attacker back. Kalen, she shouted, pulling him to his feet. With seconds to spare, Kalen detonated the explosives, obliterating the virus shipment in a fiery blast. Aftermath. The team returned to base battered but victorious. Trust had been earned through blood and fire, but the war was far from over. Kalen stood silently beside Hana and Marcus. I didn't ask to be trusted, he said quietly. I just want to make it right. Hana nodded slowly. Then prove it, because now, more than ever, we need each other. The cost of war was clear, in betrayal, sacrifice, and trust forged in the crucible of battle. Earth's ultimatum had unleashed a war without mercy, but it was the human spirit, flawed and fierce, that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The, planet Elysium, once a lush and vibrant world, now lay under a suffocating blanket of smoke and ruin. Earth's newly claimed colony, it had become a crucial foothold in the war against the Thalzar, a beacon of hope and resistance. But the Thalzar would not let it stand. From orbit, the nemesis loomed like a steel giant, its hull scarred, but resolute. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Voss stood on the bridge, his gaze locked on the swirling tempest of incoming enemy fleets. Enemy ships detected, bearing down fast, reported the tactical officer. Multiple frigates, cruisers, and at least 3 capital ships. They're aiming to cut off Elysium's escape routes. Marcus clenched his fists. We hold the line. Earth will not lose this world. Ground Zero on the surface, Sergeant Hana. Reyes led her squad through the shattered city ruins, where fires raged unchecked and the cries of the wounded echoed beneath a blood-red sky. Thalzar troops are pushing hard, Hana radioed. Intel suggests they want to starve us out before their fleet arrives. Her soldiers, enhanced and hardened, moved with practiced precision, clearing pockets of resistance, rescuing trapped civilians. and reinforcing makeshift barricades. Kalen, once a stranger, now fought at her side, his determination evident. "We can't let them take this planet," he said, scanning the horizon. "Elysium is the spark for the rest of the colonies. If it falls, so do we all." Into the void above. The battle erupted with thunderous ferocity. The Nemesis and its sister dreadnoughts exchanged volleys of antimatter blasts with the enemy, lighting the void with bursts of deadly fire. Lieutenant Cade Mercer piloted his fighter with reckless skill, weaving between enemy cruisers and escorting bombers on strike runs. His voice crackled over comms, breath ragged. "They're everywhere, but we've got the edge. Let's show them why Earth doesn't back down." Despite the chaos, Cade's squadron executed hit-and-run attacks that crippled enemy fighters and disrupted their formations. The turning point, as the enemy fleet closed in, a massive Thalzar warship emerged from hyperspace. The Doombringer, a vessel said to be a fortress unto itself. Its energy cannons charged, targeting the Nemesis. "Brace for impact," Marcus warned. The Doombringer unleashed a devastating blast, striking the Nemesis's forward shields. The hull shuddered violently. Damage control teams scrambled, but Marcus remained focused. "Target their bridge with everything we've got. Disable their command and we turn this fight." Cade's fighter swooped low, launching a barrage of precision missiles. The Doombringer's shields flickered. Ground assault on Elysium. Hana's squad fought through an ambush as Thalzar shock troops attempted to breach a civilian shelter. "Cover the evac," Hana ordered. Neural enhancements sharpened her reflexes as she moved with lethal grace. Kalen spotted a Thalzar officer coordinating the assault and charged, firing a pulse rifle burst. The officer fell, but Kalen took a plasma blast in return, staggering back. Hana was at his side instantly, dragging him to cover. "Stay with me," she urged, her voice fierce. "We're not losing you here." Unity in the fire back on the Nemesis. Marcus rallied the fleet. "Focus fire, we can't let the Doombringer dictate this battle." The combined firepower of Earth's dreadnoughts and fighters gradually wore down the enemy ship's shields. Finally, a critical hit breached the Doombringer's bridge, sending shockwaves through the fleet. Enemy ships faltered, retreating into hyperspace. The aftermath, the battered fleet regrouped, the cost of victory heavy but undeniable. On Elysium's surface, survivors gathered around makeshift memorials. Hana stood among them, bruised but unbroken. "We held the line today," she said quietly, "but the war is far from over." Kalen, now clearly part of the team, nodded. "We fight because we must, because if we don't, no one will." Marcus returned to the Nemesis's bridge, his eyes weary but resolute. "We've shown them Earth's strength," he said, "but this is just the beginning. The galaxy's darkest days are still ahead." The war had carved scars deep into Earth's soul. Victory on Elysium had come at a brutal cost. Lives lost, alliances tested, and secrets buried beneath the surface like ticking time bombs. Now, beneath the gleaming towers of Earth's capital, a darker threat lurked. Hidden in plain sight, Ambassador Ilara Miles sat alone in her private chambers, the hollow screen before her flickering with classified reports. Intelligence had uncovered troubling news. A covert faction within the Galactic Concord was secretly colluding with the Thalzar, intent on sabotaging Earth's efforts to tip the balance of power. Ilara's fingers trembled slightly as she traced the names: influential diplomats, shadowy operatives. Their aim was clear: fracture Earth's alliances and ensure the war's prolongation for their own gain. Her communicator buzzed. "Ilara, you need to see this," said a low voice. The door slid open, revealing Kalen, his expression grim. The betrayal. Revealed, Kalen approached, placing a datapad on the table. The images showed a clandestine meeting between high-ranking Concord members and a masked Thalzar commander. "They're selling us out," Kalen said. "Information, resources. They want the war to drag on so they can profit or seize power." Ilara's jaw clenched. "We can't trust anyone outside our immediate circle. This war isn't just fought on battlefields. It's fought in shadows, the weight of command." Meanwhile, in the war room beneath the Capitol, General Amari paced as reports flooded in. Supplies were disappearing mysteriously, communication channels compromised, and sabotage had struck one of Earth's forward repair yards. Internal security breach. Amari muttered. We've been blindsided. Hannah Reyes, called in for a security briefing, exchanged a look with Marcus. We need to root out the traitors before this war consumes us from within. The sting operation Alara convened a secret meeting with trusted commanders and diplomats. The plan was risky, to bait the conspirators into exposing themselves by leaking false intel about a critical weapon cache. The room was tense, every word weighted with urgency. We can't afford mistakes, Alara said. If they learn of this, it could unravel everything. Kalen leaned forward. I volunteer to lead the infiltration team. I know the kind of people we're dealing with. Marcus nodded. You'll have my squad's support. Into the web under cover of darkness, Kalen's team slipped through the labyrinthine corridors of the capital's lower sectors, places forgotten by most, but alive with secrets. The air was thick with suspicion and danger. As they reached the staging area, Kalen's neural implant pinged, a warning of nearby surveillance. Keep it quiet, he whispered. We're being watched. A sudden burst of movement. Armed operatives emerged, guns drawn. Trap! Hannah shouted, taking cover and returning fire. Sacrifice. The firefight was fierce and chaotic. Kalen's team fought desperately, outnumbered, but relentless. Hannah's pulse rifle tore through the air, covering Kalen as he moved toward the exit. But an explosion rocked the corridor, cutting off their retreat. Marcus fell back, shouting, "Cover the rear!" Kalen saw Hannah grab a grenade and hurl it into the enemy ranks. The blast cleared a path but left her injured. Go, she urged, voice strained. Finish this, don't look back. Kalen hesitated, but then ran, heart pounding. The truth unveiled. The intel they secured exposed the full extent of the conspiracy. A web of deceit connecting the Concord's highest echelons with Thalzar warlords. Ilara studied the data in disbelief. This changes everything. We must act fast. If these traitors are allowed to continue, Earth's war effort will collapse. A stark decision. With heavy hearts, Earth's leaders authorized a purge, swift and ruthless, of all compromised officials. The message was clear. Betrayal would not be tolerated no matter the cost. Ilara addressed the assembly. We fight not just against an external enemy, but against the darkness within. Only united can we survive this war without mercy. A moment's quiet in the aftermath, Hannah recovered in the infirmary, bruised but alive. Kalen sat beside her, silent, speaking louder than words. We won't forget what you did, Kalen said softly. None of us will. Hannah smiled weakly. Then let's make sure it wasn't in vain. As the shadows within the galaxy's grandest alliance fell away, the final chapters of the war were poised to unfold. Earth's ultimatum had ignited a fire, but whether it would burn away the darkness or consume them all was yet to be seen. The galaxy held its breath. The culmination of Earth's defiance was upon them. After years of brutal conflict, shattered, alliances and sacrifices uncounted, the final battle had arrived. Preparing for the storm aboard the Nemesis, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Voss stood before his assembled officers. The bridge hummed with quiet tension as they prepared for the decisive strike against the Thalzar homeworld, Zarthul. We strike at dawn, Marcus declared, voice steady but fierce. This is our chance to end the war, to end the tyranny. Beside him, Ambassador Alara Miles observed quietly. The galaxy watches us now, she said. Victory will inspire countless worlds to join us. Kalen approached, battle-worn, but resolute. This is it. No second chances. Hannah Reyes tightened her grip on her rifle, neural implants humming, in readiness. For Earth, for freedom. The descent. The fleet plunged into hyperspace, emerging at the edge of Zarthul's system. The planet loomed below, dark, foreboding, a swirling storm of war and decay. Enemy defenses sprang to life. Laser turrets blazed and fighter squadrons surged toward the fleet like swarming hornets. Cade, get our fighters ready, Cover the main assault, Marcus ordered. Cade Mercer's voice crackled with adrenaline. On it, Commander. Let's make sure they remember why Earth fights. The battle begins. The space above Zarthul erupted into chaos, ships darting through the void, plasma and missiles streaking in deadly arcs. On the planet's surface, Hana's squad led a ground assault aimed at disabling the massive energy, shield protecting the Thalzar capital. Move fast, Hana urged. Once the shield falls, the fleet can strike the heart. They battled through hordes of Thalzar soldiers and automated defenses, neural implants pushing their bodies to the limits. Kalen covered their rear, falling into sync with the squad. Trust, hard-earned, forged in fire, the fall of the shield inside. The shield control center, Hana faced the Thalzar commander who had once sought to sway her. You're nothing but pawns, the commander sneered, plasma blade drawn. We're the end of your empire, Hana replied, launching herself into the fight. After a brutal duel, Hana's blade found its mark. The commander fell, the shield flickered, then collapsed. Tuuli. Turning tide with the shield down, the Nemesis and its allies unleashed their full firepower on the capital city. Explosions tore through enemy fortifications, their fleets faltering under relentless assault. Marcus watched from the bridge as the enemy flagship, the Doombringer, emerged again, battered but defiant. This ends now, Marcus said grimly. The final engagement was fierce. Nemesis against Doombringer, titans clashing in a storm of fire. Sacrifice and victory. In the midst of battle, Kalen piloted a strike craft through a hail of enemy fire, carrying a payload of experimental EMP charges. Designed to cripple the Doombringer's systems, go, Marcus commanded. Kalen's craft rocked violently, systems failing one by one. But with a final burst, he released the charges. The Doombringer shuddered, its weapons silenced. The flagship drifted, vulnerable. The end of war, with the flagship. Disabled, the Thalzar forces surrendered. The war that had ravaged star systems and shattered civilizations was over. On Zarthul's surface, Earth's forces raised their banner. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but hope had been won. Aftermath back. Aboard the Nemesis, Marcus addressed the crew. We fought without mercy because mercy was not given to us. Now it's time to rebuild, to unite. Ilara looked out at the stars. The cost was high. But we've shown the universe what humanity is capable of. Hana, Kalen, and the others gathered, their faces etched with exhaustion and determination. We made it, Hana said softly. For freedom, Kalen replied. A new dawn. The war was over. But the story of Earth and the galaxy's fight for survival was just beginning. The stars awaited.